Oh, you can see a dog going potty in the background. Do you see all the smoke? Or can you tell that that's smoke? There is a bad wildfire. It's like 15,000 acres of uncontained fire. Guernsey State Park's at risk of burning in the town of Hartville, which is like a historic tiny town, but significant. I tried to get a video on my trip home from Laramie last night because I could see the flames from the canyon. However, just filming on this iPhone was not I couldn't pick it up. It was pretty sad. It's exceptionally dry this year, which is extra disheartening because last year was super wet, unseasonably wet for us. So I've been struggling being able to get enough footage to make a real video. I have some pieces of footage, but I think what I will actually do today is talk to you about what my little tiny crazy journey was to get onto this Phentermine. I weighed myself this morning and I was 236.6, so that's exactly 10 pounds down. I did like a straight down shot, and then the last week or so I've been extra hungry, so it was going back up, but I've also been working a lot harder in the gym and doing a whole lot of roller derby. So inflammation causes that water weight retention and also the extra eating, which wasn't like a bunch and it wasn't like bad food, but it just was. So I will sit down in a little bit and talk to you about what it took for me to get my Phentermine prescription. Okay, so granted the phone weighs a little more, but I just stepped on that scale and it was 231.4. You cannot tell me that my phone weighs 5 pounds, but it is the 13th of August, I think. So we'll do an update. I'm getting irritated. So I apologize for taking so long to get back to you. Hopefully this microphone is going to do the trick. This is our maiden voyage, if you will, with the microphone. I'm in my office, so hopefully nobody walks in on us. It's usually pretty quiet this time of day. But I just wanted to give you the little story time about the Phentermine and my struggle that I had to get prescribed it. Or not even so much to get prescribed, but to attain the prescription. So I got a mess because I was setting up this microphone and I'm confused and I have the camera facing the wrong way, but we're using front-facing camera today. Like I had mentioned, I spent a huge chunk of time in the month of June really reading up and learning about the use of Phentermine and the side effects of Phentermine and how it works and all of that. I have a bit of imposter syndrome, I guess, in everything in my life, and I feel like even though it's very obvious that I am a good candidate for something like that, we have a visitor. I work in a place where we're supposed to kill those things. Doesn't look good for us. Anyway, so even though I'm very obviously a good candidate for something like that, I thought for sure it would have to be something I would have to be very convincing of. So not only that, I made an appointment with my doctor and she ended up going on maternity leave earlier than she had anticipated. So prior to that decision to make that appointment, I believe I told you that I had talked to her about it a little bit before. And she was very understanding, but she was kind of like, well, why? Why do you want to lose weight? Like, there's all these studies now that say that having weight on a person when they're older can protect their bones from falling and et cetera, et cetera. And I just kind of left it at that and then decided, no, I need to do this for myself. So I did all that research, made the appointment. Turns out she went on maternity leave much earlier than anticipated. That appointment got moved around a few times, actually. And then I was to meet with this nurse practitioner that is in the same network, but lives her clinic is in a town about 30 minutes from here. And so I agreed to go see her because I just wanted it done. My doctor currently is not back from maternity leave, so that shows you how long I would have had to wait. Okay, so I make the choice to go do this. And I go and I'm supposed to see this nurse practitioner, and all of a sudden a totally different person than the person I thought I was going to see, which I'm kind of anxious and have to know some answers ahead of time. So of course I read about this nurse practitioner and decided if I felt like I was going to be comfortable with her already and stuff like that. I'm really trying to focus on the viewfinder. I'm sorry if I'm not doing a good job, but I swear I'm staring right at the little camera thingy. So then, surprise, out of the blue, it's another person in that network from another town, which is like, I don't know, 45 minutes or an hour away from that town, who was filling in. Well, it turns out, long story short, that she ended up being like the perfect choice because she specializes in weight loss and knows a lot about it. So we spent about, well, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour maybe just talking about it. And she did all the right things. She told me about the Phentermine that I knew that I wanted to take. And she told me about a couple of different drugs that can be prescribed with that. And we talked about GLP-1, semaglutide or semaglutide. Either way is correct. So keep your comments to yourself. Ozempic, Wegovy, those kinds of things. And I told her why I wasn't interested in those, and she was understanding. And a big factor in that is cost, and insurance doesn't really cover any of these things. And because Phentermine's been in the market for so long, it's fairly affordable. I pay $30 a month for my prescription. She looked at my vitals that they had taken that day and some previous vitals, and she was like a little worried. And so she said, your heart has to be in good condition to take this because it's a stimulant. I was already anxious because of everything, which made a difference. And then I don't like having to leave work and come back for stuff like this. And I was at an afternoon appointment and knew I had to come back, but I had left way early in the morning because I had a board meeting 30 minutes south of my town. And then the doctor's appointment was 30 minutes north of my town. So I had left work at like 10 a.m. and it was already 2:30 at this point. And so she wanted me to go take an EKG. And so I went and took one, which was like freaky in itself, but fine. But it's just a med start thing. And I learned from the person who was doing it that that's not uncommon. They just need to make sure that your heart is healthy enough to start something like that. She was doing her due diligence, which I really appreciate. All that to say, I was, of course, like an anxious mess. So then that's a Friday, and I have to wait to hear what she thinks or whatever about it. And on a Monday, I'm at lunch with one of my very best friend, actually, and her children. And I get a call and I talk to her about it. And she thought everything sounded good and wanted to go ahead and start the prescription. But because she was like traveling, she couldn't just run the prescription through their system to my pharmacy because she wasn't at her like normal place of where she practices. So she's like, tomorrow we'll have it there and you can go ahead and start tomorrow. And I thought, perfect, because I didn't want to start it in the afternoon or something. The next day I just went to the pharmacy and I said, I have this prescription here, blah, 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 blah. And they were like, oh, we don't have a prescription for you. And I was, excuse me, we just went over this. So I got a hold of the clinic. She said, well, I don't know why that happened again. So let's try again. And so for like 3 days of the week, that's happening. So by Thursday, I get a hold of her and she says, you know what, this other person, the other nurse practitioner that I was supposed to go see, will go ahead and she will make an exception and she will send the prescription over. So I trusted that went fine. And I went to the pharmacy on Friday, so a week after my appointment. I said, hey, I should have this prescription here. And they said, we don't have a prescription. Oh, and by the way, when you get that, that's not something we carry on that dose, because I'm on a pretty low dose. I'm on 8 milligrams, and typically I think it's like 15 something milligrams. We don't carry that dose, so I have to special order it. So I'll go ahead and special order it. We'll get the prescription in on Monday, and you'll be able to pick it up on Monday. I said, perfect. So I go to the pharmacy on Monday, already anxious, already upset, right? Because I'm already having these weird feelings I felt like I had to convince her to write the prescription, which is not true. I just felt that way at the time. And then every turn I take, I run into a problem and I'm having to get onto the portal every day and talk to her and complain about something that's like not a life-threatening thing and it's small, feeling like I'm med seeking or something. So I go to the pharmacy on Monday and they had my prescription, but oh no, they didn't have my prescription yet. So I'm frustrated and I'm trying to be nice and kind and I say, okay, that's fine. I come back the next day and they did have my prescription, but she did not special order my medication. She forgot or something, probably, but I was like upset. I was very nice. I said, okay, thank you. I will see you tomorrow. And I went and I sat in my car and I cried for like 10 minutes. I was feeling totally helpless and I was feeling like it was like a med seeker, ridiculous, and this somehow isn't going to work for me anyway, and she's only going to prescribe me 30 days of it, and then she's not going to prescribe me anymore, which is not true. But it ended up being like 3 weeks from the date that it was prescribed before I actually was able to get my medication. So by the time I got it, I was feeling just stupid and hopeless and like nothing was going to work anyway. But as you can see from my weigh-in, I have lost about 12 pounds. I don't remember the last time I actually took a video of me stepping on the scale, but this morning, because today is the 26th of August, and I am 234.2 pounds. I would have liked to see more, but every time I have gone to a follow-up appointment with my doctor, she's very excited about the results. And the other thing is, it has totally leveled out my vitals. My blood pressure and my resting heart rate are much, much lower. I'm even keel about it now, but at the time, it was probably one of the most stressful things. I hadn't told anybody yet what I was doing, and so I was just like losing it. I was just very sad about it and very discouraged. But now that I'm on it, I am happy to see that I'm making some progress, although I feel like I should be making a little more if I'm taking a medication, because I'm also dieting really hard and hitting the gym pretty hard. But that is the drama of the Phentermine. That's the update. Let me know if you have any questions on Phentermine. I made a whole list of topics to talk about on this journey, and so I'm hoping that we can make a little series out of it and that I don't make you wait long periods of time again. Hopefully this might solve the problem and we will be able to talk a lot in the future. Bye. I made a whole